need to share my screen. Yeah, I guess a brief time. Oh, it's so cool. Okay. Yes.
You guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you should see my, yeah, you can see my screen. So the thing I've tried to do is put like in an overview, like imagine if Jeff has to give the Berlin presentation tomorrow. I wanted to try to create an overview of everything that we need to say with the focus specifically on token bonding curves, coming out more than the rest and like trying to come up with a simple message and hitting the key points. So this is a first very rough draft that you then can add, and then anyone can like add comments and like then we'll get to something. So I'll just, what I propose, maybe I go run through it and then like, so that you get the logic and then you add notes or something, but we'll see how it goes because I'm like super tired. So this is the overview of, yeah. Good question. No, I don't.
I mean, I don't have sound on, so I just want to make sure sound is being captured on live stream.
It should be.
Okay,
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now we have an echo. No. Okay. It's okay. Yeah. So the overview. So what I was thinking that makes sense, also timing-wise, is that first you take 10 minutes. This is the context we have and the challenge. Then. Really very simple. In 1 minute, we are building the common stack. That is the what. That's what we're doing. That is our solution. Then very briefly, well, for just about 5 minutes, give an overview of this is what we are going to do. So you drill down a little bit deeper, but it's still like only the tip. It's just like overview. This is what the common stack will build. Then you go into more reasons why to believe, why you should actually like brush, just why do you want to contribute. And here I split it up in like funding elements specifically, so open sourcing CatCat, what makes the augmented bonding curve so different and so powerful, what's in it for you now immediately and long term, so there's the 1030 and so on, but also the ecosystem. Then a way shorter point on what is conviction voting, what is analytics conviction voting, and DApp integration, Giveth DApp integration. Then a little bit on the analytics dashboard, and then what is coming after that. And that is actually kind of the conclusion, and it's like ending in beauty and saying like, hey, well, this is what we're aiming at. This is the big picture. We're going to build a whole commons, and this is the future that we want you to be a part of.
Yeah, it's a nitpick, but I would say we should even have more to say about beyond than analytics. I mean, the analytics thing is tough to like really.
No,
it's really like a 30-second. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a good point. So that's probably gonna be all. No, but it's good. This is a kind of nitpicking.
Yeah.
It's not nitpicking. It's just like
so
rough thing.
Another question: you have funding. Is that in the bonding curve? Does that mean funding?
Sorry, could you say that again?
Funding here. Is
yeah.
That like the bonding curve funding mechanism, or is that funding of us?
That is the funding mechanism of the bonding curve, and the thing is actually in the presentation itself. For that reason, I put CatCat actually outside of this.
Yeah, I was at 14 minutes. 27 governance.
I must have checked. That's because of the bonus. Okay, then so then call to action is like you'll be a pioneer, and bonus is just like more information and like this is how you participate. So this is just to give you a little bit of the structure, because this is actually the most important slide in that sense, that you get the structure and like how I tried to divide it. But I already put some more in, so like just to go through that a little bit, I probably should go screen. It's going to be more visible for people watching this. So context and challenge. The context that I put in here, so this is of the 30 minutes, I think this can be about 10 minutes. So really setting the stage. And so again, this is really just my own words. Jeff, you can like change this entirely, and this is just a suggestion. But for context, what I was thinking of yesterday is like, we have a thriving ecosystem. This thriving ecosystem that came into existence is with two sorts of people, so to say. You have people who came in for the financial gain, the traders, so to say, and you have people who came for systemic reasons, people who really wanted to like change the systems and make the world a better place, you know? Not to say that one is evil or one is good. But the first one, I just call them the traders. So this is just a short reference to the thing that we have a money-making system, an ecosystem that is self-sustaining. So there's the Cure coin reference that you maybe can throw in. But it's those people are not adding value, they are extracting value. But it is self-sustaining, that part.
Well,
Yeah.
a couple of things. First of all, yeah, I mean, it's definitely like all valuable stuff to include. I'm wondering if this is like so punchy that it's what we want to start with.
Well, what I would say is like,
This is the first, like, imagine you've never heard of Common Stack before. This is the first time you're hearing about it.
yes, and that's why that's exactly the reason why I'm doing it in this way. But we can do it completely different. But I want to like try to explain the logic why I'm proposing this way.
Yeah.
So the reason is just setting the stage of like, this is where we are at right now. I don't want to immediately like bombard you like, hey, this is a Common Stack, we have a new project, because it's like, oh god,
no,
there
I'm
we
not
go
saying
again.
to do that, but like in terms of giving like I agree with starting with context, but I'm wondering if this is like the first piece of context we give, or if we
To be discussed. That's why I first want to like go through the context, and maybe I hope you'll get why I propose it this way.
I won't.
Okay. But please stay. Okay. I'll try to stay concise here. So you have the traders, first of all, the money-making people, and this is a proof of the fact that a system can be self-sustainable. That's actually the point I want to make here. That's why I want to start with the traders. They have the self-sustaining system. The second group of people, the builders, they are here out of because of ethical reasons, because they see that the systems are not working, and so they want us. Right now, we as humans, we are not sustainable. We're not self-organizing in a good way. Our centralized systems are not really well working as they should be.
Right.
And so many people have come here for different reasons, but it's all because they have experienced parts of the bigger whole that is not working.
Right.
So, and the thing that Jeff often comes back with, and I think it's a really powerful one, is you can just mention that it's like, it can be because of political reasons, because we've seen that top-down, centralized, left or right, none of it really works. It can be because of economical reasons, because we see the economic systems are not working either. It's the one versus nice, the wealth divide, la la la.
Right. Maybe we can lead both of these, because you've underlined like self-sustaining and then not self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Maybe we can lead with.
Yeah, the visual style, I really did this, which.
In the present, like in terms of what he starts saying.
Yeah.
Start kind of being like.
Sure, but that is, to me, is. Yeah, to me, that is, in any case, it's the important point of the slide.
Yeah,
that's why I underlined it. Visual style, I do not want to like worry about right now. It's the message.
No,
if you get
I'm talking about
sure.
How the messaging is presented, not about the slide.
Yeah, no, but I agree. It's like the message is we're not just self-sustaining. The builders are not self-sustaining in the long term. And so this group of builders is adding value right now. They're thinking not long-term either, I would say they're thinking mid-term. And so I want to now then drill down to a subgroup of the builders, which I call the observers. And that's like research that has been happening on all these, on token physics that has been developed. So there's this group of observers, and they have like come up with, token research, token economics, and all this thing. And so they are super important because they are thinking long term, and they're mapping the system, and they're focusing on really helping us create a more robust system for the future. And the issue with those people is that the token engineering community, because that's what I'm talking about, they are not self-sustaining even in the short term, because that is long-term thinking, and in the current, even in the blockchain system, people are not doing long-term thinking. So all of this is to build up the context where I want to make the point. we want to present you something that will give a long-term solution, and that's a message that's what makes us different, that makes us stand out. So that's that context. So that is summarized here a little bit. So we have this challenge because of this, that you can say the blockchain people, we have some projects, oh, we still have that many $1 million there. We are living, some of us are living the dream, but we do not have any long-term waterproof solutions right now by far at this moment. And we have also the thing that only half of the ecosystem is sustainable. So it's not sustainable for the builders, it's sustainable for the traders and so on, but the people who are actually building it, some of the other projects have funding, but like the long-term thinkers, for example, they often, the non-profit organizations, the however you frame it, but like you get the point, it's like a very important part of our community is not sustainable when it comes to culture.
So I will add to that just a point that I think you're making a case for species versus ecology type of analogy. So some species are fit, but because temporally the ecology isn't fit, what's happening over time is that some subsets are essentially, killing off other subsets, and that the whole system is not sustainable ecologically. Even if individual species could be argued as thriving, it's inherently short term because the ecology is fragile.
Yes, indeed, the ecology is fragile. So I'm like taking a quick note of that one because that is indeed like the essence. That's the challenge we're facing. So then here's a little bit more information, and it's again like Jeff, you will make that in your completely own words. But like I was thinking, like because we're discussing like let's focus in the solution mostly to keep it simple on the token bonding curve. So also in the challenge, focus a little bit more on the fact that we have this funding issue. And I just put, because it's the meme thing, the 10x engineers Twitter thing in. I put it in here. We need those 10x engineers. And this right now, imagine if a Libra comes or whoever comes and they just take all the talent we have, it can be gone so easily. And people are just coming in, actually. We are not able to incentivize our own ecosystem. Incentives are not aligned, sorry. So maybe we're being a bit repetitive here. So we're really just very vulnerable and fragile as an ecosystem. Yeah, so here I'm saying economy and government and like both on the economic side as well as like the government restrictions, we are fragile. We're not anti-fragile at all. So, and this is just the point on the other side we want to briefly touch upon as well, is that we have been observing also like from like your side of the stories argument is like how like everything that is governance and how that is happening right now. So we do know, and I don't know, in my head I'm always thinking of Libra, and probably we shouldn't mention Libra at all, but to me it's a good example. It's like we're very easy to be disrupted when it comes to governance because we try to do everything in a very decentralized way, but it's very difficult to make decisions, and none of the organizations is actually ready to help us make decisions right now.
Sorry to cut you off, but I like bringing up Libra in the sense that we can say like those of us who are trying to do this the open source way are falling behind, right?
Yeah.
Facebook, like they're not there yet. But they put a flag in the ground and they're
and the only reason that I'm
keep up.
The only reason that I agree, and that's also my feeling about it. But I've seen on Twitter discussions of people who are like not seeing why there is a lot of danger about Libra. I know you do, but many people don't.
Jeff, can you share with Chris I sent you a link to a document that has a lot of discussions around the Libra stuff. He might want to read it. Can you maybe just share it with him?
Was that the one we sent today?
It's linked in the research roadmap doc. The research roadmap doc has a link in it to discussions of what he's talking about. We don't need to tangent on it, but I think it'll be, given what he's saying, I think he'd benefit from reading it. It's working notes from multiple people, myself included, on the political economics and decentralization.
Okay, so I'll check it. Thanks. So like indeed, like and to be decided if we even touch upon it or not. But I think most of the people will get it. Like centralized resources can disrupt our very new ecosystem extremely easily because we want to try to make decentralized decision making and governance happening, but we're not there yet. But we need to take decisions now. And like we mentioned it before a lot, it's like voter apathy is is one of the biggest problem, if not the biggest problem. And so we want to mention that problem. It's not the biggest focus of this presentation, but we will touch upon it. And here it's maybe also already to counter critique from people who will be in the audience saying like, by the way, there are fantastic initiatives happening and a lot of, like there's Moloch doubters, mathematicians, there's Aragon working on all of this, but all of those people, they have limited resources, they will be depleted at some point, and they haven't found the holy grail just yet.
It's also, I want to make a point about this too, and I've been using this concept of abstraction hierarchies, which is a little much for a presentation like this, but I'll explain it to you guys this way. Those projects are not in the systemic abstraction hierarchy. They're still technologists doing technology things, and we've been talking a lot about the fact that these are inherently social, economic, and sort of political systems, and that they require other expertises. And I'm not saying the absence of the expertise of the people in those projects. I'm saying, again, ecologies of expertises and knowledge and skills. And so what I've been saying is that we need economists and we need a shared.
Oh, we lost you, but that could be me. Okay, Z, we lost you, or is it my connection? Kai, can you still hear us?
Yep.
Ah, okay. then it's Z. Oh, okay. Well, maybe just for the sake of time, I'll just continue what should I do? Because he is paying attention.
Yeah, we got 15 minutes left in the call, so.
Yeah, okay. So in any case, that's good points. Like we need to add this, of course, like it's that we need to grow our ecosystem and to get all the skills and not just the technologists in there. Then, so what are we doing? We're building a common stack. This is just our 30-second pitch. It's like we're building infrastructure for sustainable funding and management of you, our community builders. And immediately also say, this is what we ask. We want you to sustain us so that we can sustain you long term. Yeah, so this, I want to put that in directly so that you actually immediately see like, hey, we're here with a very direct question to you.
Okay. I didn't realize I dropped. I have no idea how long I was talking without you guys on.
We tried to tell you and I was like, he's really gone. But so, yeah, I would say like, I think I got your point, Z, and I took a note about it, but I'm just moving on because we don't have a lot of time left. But
can you tell me how long I was gone just so that I have a sense of what I actually said?
You dropped off after like a minute or so. You were saying that we need like technology, that right now it has been built by technologists and like you need all the other expertise to actually really build a robust system. That's what I got from what you were saying.
Yeah, that's it. Just that, but that ecological analogy holds there too.
Yes.
I'm simply saying that it's not a question for vertical siloed solutions anymore. It's a question for horizontal synthesis to solve human problems. And we have direct differentiation between other projects because they are still attacking silos. And we're saying we're going to take and learn from every one of you, and that our focus is horizontal synthesis, and that is a major distinction between us and anybody else in this domain.
Yes, and that is a super powerful, and we should add that actually somewhere in what makes us so unique. But I think that's going to come up a little bit later as well, and like the reasons why we should invest in us. Contribute. But okay, cool. So
yeah, wherever you want. I'm done.
No, I took an extra note, so it's super valuable feedback. So I was just saying when you were gone, but maybe you saw it, it's just like, this is just a 30-second saying like, this is with this context and with this challenge, this is what we are offering you. And I just took like the pitch, but this is to be worked on, of course. And like, we immediately say, we ask you to sustain us so that we can sustain you in the long term.
I really like that actually.
Okay, cool. So then, then we go in a little bit more detail. So we start drilling down a little bit. What will the common stack build? So this is about 5 minutes. And here we start by saying, first and foremost, first we just say like, we're going to launch the TC to support a subgroup of builders. And that subgroup of builders is actually the observers, as mentioned before. So what is the first thing that you want to do if you want to support those people? It's to open source CatCat. That's where it all starts. And I think this is an important one. That's why I put it separately, because that is why it is the token engineering commons and why we start with it. Because it's like, and it takes a whole big chunk of the budget. So then we need to at least
I'm gonna suggest that, given that you're now in our Slack, that you spend a little bit of time prodding around, because there's actually also a ton of documentation and stuff in the works that might help you make that case. I'm not going to go into it now, but between Jonathan and Josh writing documentation and Andrew writing demos and Marcus writing demos and videos, we can support some of that proposition by making sure that people understand that there's actually a lot already there to be given.
Yeah,
if
for
you
sure.
Get a chance.
Yeah.
Again, not here, later. I'm just poking it.
No, good point. But I think I just want to say, like, Jeff is probably also he is giving me many synthesis stuff of what he has already absorbed from you guys. So that, and it's also his presentation that he's going to give. So, but yeah, so that is something that needs to go here. But very, very briefly, just touching upon it. And then actually, like, we go into like, okay, what is the first thing to make it very concrete for them? What are we going to do? We will build sustainable funding. So what you will see in the titles here, it's again just a proposal, but in every title, and it's a thing that you said, Z, it's like the horizontal thing. I just called it for now. We do sustainable funding, sustainable proposals. It's all sustainable. You can call it long-term, you can call it horizontal, whatever you want, but it comes down to me on like, we want to do something that is really sustainable. So the first element is the sustainable funding by launching the augmented bonding curve. So here is just like mentioning it and saying like, that's why I put in the Henry Ford thing here. It's like, yeah, there are bonding curves, but this is an augmented bonding curve, but we'll get into this later. But this is like the first thing that we're really going to launch with the token engineering commons. Then second thing, and so as of here we go a little bit faster, we say like, okay, give it that escrow mechanism, it will integrate with the previous elements. Then we have conviction voting, integrate with the previous elements. I've put everywhere a note like, by the way, this can be the token engineering commons, but we can also launch other commons at that moment. But just like that, they grasp that actually we could continue, that there are multiple options. You can even say like, yeah, you can make multiple commons if you want to. Then, okay, fourth element, we will have an analytics dashboard. And that what we then will build in the end is that we have a whole commons. So this is really a brief overview of like this. Yeah, sure.
Can I comment on the role and importance of analytics given the ethics discussion? Remember that if we want to empower people to be active participants in decision making, they're being able to do it in a way that's, again, sustainable and long term, is not just giving them the right to participate, but empowering them to participate well. And so the analytics, while it might seem like a little bit of a tangent to someone who's not familiar, you can tie it into your broader sustainability narrative through that closed loop between the decision making at the governance level, the rules at the implementation level, and the experience of the community, by demonstrating that the only way to be sustainable is not just to allow participation, but to enable informed participation.
Yeah, that is a super good point. It's indeed the analytic. It empowers them. So yeah, I took a note of that one as well. That needs to go in there because it's again like the emotional element that's also going to convince them why this is so important. Cool. Okay, then why should you contribute? By the way, also for structure wise, even when saying this, it could be, Jeff, and that's the thing that you will have to see, that like this part and the previous part, that you can have it into one. I just split it up, but maybe it can be like, this is a deeper drill down to be decided. In the number 3, I wanted to give the overview. This is what we're building. And now this sounds fantastic, but like, why should you actually believe that what we're now saying does make sense? So here is a moment to talk a little bit more why we're open sourcing CatCat. So we actually already said some of these points. Yeah, so you know these things, so I don't need to really go into it, I think.
on that slide?
I actually was thinking of putting the UFO there, but I didn't have time anymore. But we should put some visuals in there. Visuals are always good, so that's the pimping stuff that will be done. So yeah, this is an important one. So this saying that we will do CAD and it's block science. This will really also by starting this, but with this, it's not about the technicality, but it's like getting your audience to understand like, hey guys, we are legit. This is based on years and years of research. Yeah, and so if you want to make a community, so if you want us to become more anti-fragile, you have to start with the community that needs it most and that actually has all the building, really has done the analysis, what is actually making us fragile at this exact moment. And they have no funding. So we need to first open source CAD. So that is that message here. And like, yeah, just telling a little bit more about that here. Okay. Okay, then why augmented bonding curve? So I just added a $sign here to remind, and we have to see how we visualize this. But this is like, hey, now we get into the money stuff. So this is here. This is to make the point really like what is the technical stuff behind it. This is saying what is the difference between just a bonding curve and a Ponzi scheme, and what is an augmented bonding curve. So this is like really saying you can take like 5 minutes here because it's really important that they grasp that the augmented bonding curve is something new that has never been done before, and that this is based on years of research. And again, that here you can talk about block science. You can mention briefly that we have our team of advisors, that all the token engineer specialists in the world are actually, when they hear about it, that they're really like sold. So just like really sell it here. So this is an important one. A second one, and this is like the thing to push it a little bit deeper, is like, well, what we're actually creating, we talked about before that it was an extracting system, well, we're actually creating a surplus. So here is the things that you can say, what is the benefit for you right now, that, yeah, the thing that Griff said, yeah, you are cool, you are a hatcher, you will be a specialist in token engineering, but also the 1030 multiplier, that's what here.
That's where we get in trouble with not setting expectations that can bite us in the ass, like in terms of taking people's money.
Yeah, but in any case, we need to have it in, and how we're gonna like say it exactly, that's for Jeff to decide and for everyone to give feedback up and Burn as well. But we will need to put it in there. But it's
sure, it's gonna, but it's super sensitive.
Yeah, I know. So, but it's the second point. First, we say what the augmented bonding curve is and why this will help us as an ecosystem. But then you say like, hey, now, and well, because the 1030 is actually already a now, because people can think 3 years ahead, I guess. But the most important thing, and that's for me also the emotional sell, is that you say, if we build this, if we make augmented bonding curves work, you help us create economic viability of our ecosystem. Then we can survive and we can fight the Libras and all the things that can come in the future because it will be robust. So that is this long-term thinking. Yeah.
One more word that will help you is circular economy, because again, when you trace economies not just for their inflows and outflows, but for the way that value circulates, like we've done with the cyber physical commons examples, you're actually using design principles from sustainable design and circular economies. And you can kind of do your own research, but it might be good keywords to grab onto because people can even look them up and they have meanings that are related to what we're doing.
Yeah, indeed. And like that, again, that's a good point. And I took a note. And again, that's one of these things that I want to immediately give the feedback. I just I just wrote this like yesterday and trying to do it in my own words, but I know that we have all these words that are like used already in like the research that's going to give even more legitimacy to it. So yes, so that. Then okay, another reason after we talk about the money is like a very brief explanation. Okay, this is a DApp integration that we're going to do. Hey, and this is conviction voting, but we're just going to touch upon it. We're just going to like, yeah, there's a 2-minute pitch of what like the conviction voting is and what makes it different. We're just going to refer to the articles that exist. We're going to then say the analytics dashboard. So I think that is actually the place where we can make this more than going, because you do not have the time and such. If you want to give the whole picture, you do not have the time to go in a lot of detail about the operational analytics dashboard. So you're more going to say like what it brings to the people. And so that's the argument you just made. So that's one that can come here. Then the next point is then, what is the big thing? It's just reminding it one more time as a conclusion here that in the end, we are building sustainable communities. And so this is what we want to get to in the end with our final iteration. So I haven't used the word iteration, as you might have noticed in here, but actually this is going through the iterations. And so we discussed yesterday, like we focus mostly on the 4 puzzle pieces, but we also say then we're going to have more rounds where we will work on UX and really getting us ready for any community that needs to get sustainable funding. And in the long term, this is going to be for anyone who wants to sustainably self-organize.
I like that. Like the iteration could come up in a Q&A, but it's not inherently like neat or organized to think about. So we don't have to put it out front. We can be like, this is the essence of what we're doing. The iteration is just a way to achieve it.
I do think it's important to say that when you focus on iterative design,
Yes.
it really does follow
For sure.
But
you don't have to lay out steps 1 through 6.
No, indeed, it needs to be in there, and that's probably I'm gonna just write the note here, like and it's probably that is the place to say, even if we don't say like, okay, this is why we're doing the token bonding curve, but at the end we say this is iterative design, and like the visuals of the puzzle pieces are already gonna show that. And then it's just like the final thing is like, okay, you've seen this, that we're going to change the world and we're going to touch all humans on the planet, but we're first going to start, like we're going to start inside out. We start with the token engineering commons, then we start with the blockchain ecosystem, and then we're going to make the whole world sustainable. That's our ultimate long-term goal. Wow, fantastic. People are on their chairs. They are shouting. They're like, oh my God, take our money. And so then we say like, be a pioneer. We are launching today. With like, if you dial in Grit from the playa, he pushes a red button, there's like a fireworks, whatever. And it's like, this is the moment you can become a member of the Common Stack Association. Now, bam, it's open, like start throwing your money. This is the address, this is the smart contract. And then, by the way, this is links with more info, the bonus material, and whatever, if we have time for questions or visual of the full team, these are all the links, this is the contact, blah, 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 and done.
Sounds good.
30 minutes?
It should be 30 minutes. Of course, we stopped a lot, but like, I think it should normally fit approximately in 30 minutes if we like, if you polish, and it's just like a really rough draft of like our conversation from yesterday.
Just don't let me talk. As long as I'm not talking, it'll be fine.
No, but everything you said is fantastic feedback. That's why I wanted to go through this. It's just like it's short timing, so it looks like disgusting, and I'm super annoyed myself by the fact that that the structure still isn't there entirely. But I mostly wanted to give like the idea of like
it's good to keep it wrapped.
Yeah. But it's more like the thing that I'm really most wanted to do, and I tried to like elaborate already on it, is like, to me, this feels like, and I think you will come to something similar anyways, it's like, it's the thing we discussed. You want to focus on the augmented bonding curve, you want to not go too much in the details, you want to have an emotional connection with them. I have taken open source CatCat out of it as a first point, because I think it's important that they really grasp that, because most of the people will not know it, and you just have to show like, this is something that these people have been observing us. And it's like, there I had to think, talking about visuals, there's the movie, like, how is it called? Like the people, The War of the Worlds. The War of the Worlds has like a fantastic introduction. They have been observing us for years. It's like this monologue that plays, and it's like it's a beautiful thing. But to me, that's what you guys have been doing. Sargam, is like you guys have been observing everything that's been happening in the blockchain ecosystem, and you have seen like, okay, these are the connections. This is how what works, and you have extracted some things out of it, and with this this robust research, you can build robust systems. And that's the message, and that's the thing that the common stack is going to bring to the world, and that is going to create long-term sustainable funding solutions, and nobody is working on that. That's the core message. This is something unique, and that's the thing that they need to get at the end.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Tons of good content that we can make.
Okay.
Awesome stuff.
Cool.
Awesome. Cool. So that is our session.
Is that me? Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
That's like strange.
Anytime.
You do this and the music starts playing. That's funny. Okay.
Cool. Yeah. I mean,
Thanks for listening in, Z. That was super useful feedback. Thank you so much.
Awesome
And I
job.
hope
It's really exciting to see it.
it's exciting to see you now because you're upside down. Okay. Hi, there you are. Okay, is there another meeting now, or is this the end of the stream?
That is it. Another couple of minutes before I dive into merging this stuff.
Into what?
Merging.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'll be doing that a bit later, guys. So
Yeah, and then we'll take a break.
To
Yeah, I now have to.
break,
I need to now work on 2 things for Lorelei, and then I can go back to this. But yeah, cool. Okay, thanks, Z. And talk to you tomorrow.